14 MT. Show you guys under the hood. Got the J Concepts wheels. I forgot what they're called, but they're 2.2 sized, so I'm sure you will have no trouble finding them. Use the most random body clips that I could find in my pile. Here I am dropping them in the dirt. Beware, drop it in the dirt, it's gone forever. Anyway, I'm actually quite proud of this because this is what you do when you, have to make do with what you got. So using a trim tab from a boat, which actually the screw holes that mount to the hull happen to line up more or less with the holes that the body posts attach to the shock tower. Drill it all the way through, right? And that's where I mount my receiver because I kind of don't have a whole lot of room. I suppose I could put it there, and I actually have before, but it actually causes the body to poke out a little bit because the wires stick out beyond the edge of the chassis. Anyway, Micro X2. This is a Electron 2S 2000. One of the two 1007 series, 10 series, 1007. I forget which KV it is, but it's the higher of the two, I think. I can never remember. I have two of these, and I have one of each, and I can never remember which truck it's in. But anyway, stock servo. I actually really like that stock servo. Stock shocks. And I also put CVDs in the rear. They normally come with dog bones, full length. And the reason I did that is if I lost a turnbuckle while I'm bashing, I don't want the drive shaft to go missing. So they're captured there. They're not going anywhere. I think I have a rock or something in here. I mean, I have lots of rocks inside the chassis, obviously, but something caught up in the gears. I like these ABC receivers because these trucks are damn near impossible to drive without a gyro, honestly. I actually like the stock wheels, but, I have a bunch of others, so just try what you got. Anyway, let's put the body back on. Let's go for a drive. I want to say the gearing on this is a little bit higher than stock. I know you can't use the actual stock pinion because the bore size is all wrong. It's smaller than the, what is it, the 1/8 inch size, the smaller of the two. It's not a 5 mil, it's the smaller one. I forget what it is. Standard 10 scale size. The pinion that this comes with is a smaller bore size, but I think I matched the tooth count, I think. To be honest, I don't remember. I have so many trucks, I don't keep track of what gearing is in what, except for my speed cars. And even then, the only reason I know is because you can just take the body off and look. These gears, they're covered, so, unless you write it down somewhere. Oh, I also, the obvious part, chopped the body a little bit to fit the wing. Because when you buy these things brand new, it actually comes with a wing. Or rather, no, it comes with a wing mount. So I decided to use the wing mount on top of the wheelie bar mount. Just need some longer screws, cut the body, works great. Got yourself a little mini Creighton. So yeah, running 2S today. This thing is hilarious. This thing absolutely takes a beating. I don't recall changing diff fluids at all. I don't think I have. So what you see here is what you get. I did, however, change the stock fluid, the shock fluid. I actually found these stock shocks to be way too stiff. The springs are okay, but the fluid they use, the fluid tuning is way too stiff, made it really, really bouncy. Too late to lean into that front flip, but I still kind of made it. Anyway, so what I did is a couple things. I drilled out the piston holes. I drilled them out. I don't remember what size I used, but something slightly larger. And I put 17.5. TLR makes that fluid, they do make that fluid weight, 17.5, use that in there. I know it's really low and typically crawler people like super lightweight shock oil, but for a truck as lightweight as this thing, you don't need much, honestly. And even something like 20 or 30 weight on the stock pistons is just rock hard. Unless, of course, you weigh it down with a bunch of stuff. On 3S, this thing is a riot. Full beans. knock on wood, but this thing almost never rolls onto its lid and stays there. You know, I don't have to do the walk of shame with this thing very much. And 2000 milliamps actually goes a long way with these little guys. Full beans, holding. I say that right when it flips, huh? That's what happens when I go and say stupid stuff like that. I go and jinx myself. Any carnage? No, got steering. Got throttle, all 4 wheels, yep. Little body rub from the tires ballooning, nothing crazy. Can I get a backflip out of this thing? Nope. I hit these ramps with too much speed and I don't have any extra inertia to get a backflip going. Front flip? Have to try it the other way. Try and get a front flip out of this bad boy. Lots of front flips and barrel rolls. And you see what I mean? It always seems to land on its wheels, which is really nice. For the most part. Your mileage may vary, of course. Front flip. Ooh, right on the nose. But you know, that's what's nice about these, is that they don't weigh anything. Unlike my Super Baja Ray, which has taken quite the beating the last couple hours. Steering, yep. See how good that steering servo is? I love this steering. Yep, good there. Lots and lots and lots of full throttle with this guy. Right into my ankles, almost. All right, it's enough with this. Enough with this mini. Let's get the next one, shall we? Go away. The mini ERevo. Kind of missed my big one, actually. I sold that one a long time ago. So this one does have the same power system in it, albeit it's got the other 10 series motor. They have 2 of the 1007 motors, what I call the 1007 motors. They have the 1000s and the 1007 and the 1010. 1010s are too big to fit in any of these. Ask me how I know. Kind of a bummer. But what are you gonna do? So full censored. Neither of these came with the BEC. These are the first release versions. I actually took the BEC that this came with, wired it inside here. I actually took the heat shrink apart and I molded it and moved it around, bent the tabs and the capacitors, basically manipulated it to get it to fit in here. And the only way you know it does not have a BEC is if you look real closely. Single black and single red wire. Those are tapped into the 2S parallel here. Powers the BEC, powers the receiver. Hello. Wife came to join the party. Got the sway bars on here. LT rockers, so it's got all the suspension travel in the world. And it's got the stock wheels for the 14MT. Stock wheels from that came on here. Just trying something different. I actually kind of like it. Hot racing carriers, just for the sake of bling. But if you do run the stock ones, I do recommend the screw-in pivot ball caps instead of the clip-ons. Got the aluminum push rods and turnbuckles, mainly just for the adjustability of the toe links. Helps a lot, especially if you're running RPM arms. Anyway, stock arms on this, only just because I like the extra length. These are the Summit style arms, so you got 10 millimeters extra wheelbase. 2S parallel, same batteries in here as what's in the Associated, so I got 4,000 milliamps runtime instead of 2. So I'm not running 4S for all you lipo nerds out there. Single servo, single Savox. I did have a dual, but I didn't quite like it. It's too heavy. Plastic drive shafts, only just because they're cheaper. And replacing them does not involve opening the diffs up like the Traxxas ones, which is a terrible design, by the way. Nothing really to note under here. Plastic bulkheads. I did try the aluminum ones, just too heavy. Not a fan. Also really expensive. Yeah, that's about it, really. This one did start life as a brushless, so the original body was the 3S body. The reason that's noteworthy is because the brushed trucks still have a hole poked in the body for your antenna. So this was originally a brushed truck body, but not that that matters. Just plug this up, go for a drive. I forget what gearing in this. Excuse me, I forget what pinion is in here. I wouldn't go out and say that this is more durable than the MT, but I wouldn't call it weak either. In stock form, they actually kind of stink. I'm not gonna lie, when they're stock, they really actually kind of stink because you get bushings instead of bearings in a lot of places. The rocker arms, the bell crank, you get bushings instead of bearings. Fixed links, which is not necessarily a problem, but when you consider that the pivot balls are not aluminum or steel or whatever material, they're plastic, and so eventually they wallow out. Your alignment gets all inconsistent, it handles weird, and if you go and disassemble it, you drop those, you drop the pivot balls, and it just gets annoying, right? But the most obnoxious part of these trucks, as I'm sure you guys know, because these trucks aren't exactly new, they've been around for a zillion years, the diffs are awful. And yeah, a lot of people swear by shimming them, and that's fine and that's cool, but even when I shim them with the right shims and get the tightness how you want, there's just too much flex going on in those bulkheads, and the teeth are just way too small. So if you get any flex from any tumbles, right, then you start chipping teeth, and it's all downhill from there. So I actually went out and decided to make the, I don't know if investment is the right word, because I'm absolutely not selling this, is the Hot Racing spiral cut diffs, because they, quite frankly, are just stronger and better. And I've had this truck for probably, oh boy, this is among the first ones I ever had. I probably had this thing for at least 4 years. I was replacing diffs on it every other time I drove it. And you know, it added up, and eventually they just pay for themselves when you just cough up the $140, $150 for both diffs. Never touched them ever since. Yeah, and this thing is a little weird to drive. I do have it set up kind of strange with the long rockers and stiff springs. But we're also not on an ideal surface for this, which kind of leads me into a question, actually. Hello, Mr. Butterfly. What is the ideal surface for these 16 scales and 14 scales? I don't know if there is one, honestly. Seems like every time I drive the Mini ERevo, I am continuously making the walk of shame. You notice how I'm still walking. I never stop walking because I always have to go pick it up at some point. But you know, that's part of the fun. Gets you winded like me. I'm horrendously out of shape. Right on the nose. But you know what? These bumpers are actually pretty solid. And just like the Associated, even though it's packing 2 batteries, it's not that heavy. So a big crash like that, you know, it takes a few of them, and really a few of them, to cause any significant damage. At least after you fortify it. Stock bulkheads, stock bumpers for me. And I'm thinking about the RPMs just because of how I like the way they look. And just like the Associated, it's basically impossible to drive without a gyro, so I got the ABC in here. Maybe it's just because I'm a bad driver. And I'm not ashamed of that, you know? Use the tools that you have given to you. I think I'm stuck in the grass. think I might have overheated too. It's denying power right now. Oh, we got some movement. Any beep codes? Oh yeah, I've overheated. So let's walk it back. So what I like about the Castles is that if you read the manual, every beep code corresponds to a different kind of message. And if you're a Castle nerd, you are very familiar with the overheating and radio glitch. And perhaps the overload for you speedrunners.